Welcome back guys for part 2 of the Cold Steel 1 and 2 community ranking. Let's jump in right where we left off at number 32. Starting us off, we have the annoying devil that is Blue Blanc. Now despite having one of the coolest designs in the game, Blue Blanc has a knack for grinding the gears of anyone unfortunate enough to catch his eye. With all the tact of an incinerated bull in a china shop, it doesn't take long for Blue Blanc to sink his claws into the player with his infamous riddle quests. Quote time! I hate his quests, but he's a fun character to interact with. He's an odd one and we know next to nothing about him as a person. I like him. We first run afoul of him in Cold Steel 1 as he draws us all across Heimdall, and eventually he takes a more prominent role in Cold Steel 2, being one of the various dispatched Ouroboros members who overlook the completion of the Phantasmal Blaze plan. Now despite being a bit annoying from a gameplay standpoint, no one can deny that Blue Blanc is one of the more flamboyantly unique members of Ouroboros. He's something of a comic relief character and also the counterbalance to a certain debaucherous prince. Despite that, he has a certain air of mystery to him, and I will say, he does redeem himself a bit on the side quest front in Cold Steel 2, giving us a chance to become a budget Phoenix Wright, for what that's worth. It hasn't taken us long, but we're already touching on the members of Class 7. At number 31 we have Gaia Warsaw. Now first off, we're going to avoid the win jokes, I refuse to regale you with such humour. Gaius is a good guy. He's one of the first characters we meet in Cold Steel 1 and he immediately demonstrates that he's a level-headed and kind bloke. You could say it's a breeze to be in his company. I'm stopping now. I'm glad that he scored highly on outward design at the very least. I feel that of the main Class 7 members, excluding instructors, he has the coolest look. Slightly rugged, sandals, and a big spear. But unfortunately, he is overshadowed by many other characters in the group, at least narratively speaking. I think the main issue with Gaius is that he has no latent struggle. His motivation is tied to his home in Nord and his desire to protect it from harm, which is fine. Loving your homeland is an admirable trait. However, Gaius pretty much has everything. A loving family, good looks, mad painting skills, Lind, the chocolate people, the chocolate. Compared to the other members who have trials they have to overcome, Gaius is just there to laugh in their faces, figuratively of course. I will admit though he has some solid dialogue on occasion, his questioning of the nobles and their supposed superiority being a good example. It's a shame he ends up so far down, but I can understand it. We're not pulling any punches here, are we? Moving on to our second member of Class 7, it's Elliot Craig. Now as much as I love Elliot, I'd say he is the most one-dimensional character of Class 7. Yes, it's nice to have a passion, but honestly you could substitute him with a walking lute, and there would be no difference to the story. I jest of course, at least a lute has multiple tones. But despite my jokes at the expense of our red-headed bro, I think that a character like Elliot is needed, and this quote demonstrates why. I liked that he had a very personal relationship with his family. It made his normal family contrast well against the dysfunctional ones, or the ones that are too distant from their parents. He may not have been the most plot-centric character of Class 7, but he was the reliable best friend. Definitely agree here. Despite being a bit bland by himself, Elliot has a different angle to family life that a lot of other Class 7 members don't have. We see so many dysfunctional or busy families throughout our journey that it's nice to just be welcomed into a normal household. It's also the main source of Elliot's struggle. Even though he clearly loves and respects his family, he's also looking to prove to his father that a life forged by music can be achieved, that a traditional life as a proud Erebonian man should not be confined to the military alone. I feel this approach also acts as a way whereby Elliot can honour his deceased mother, so it's nice to see that he holds true to his one true passion. He may not be the most compelling, but you can't hate him. Moving to our third member of the Imperial Liberation Front, it's Scarlett. Now straight up, I don't like her design. It feels like she'd be more at home in some dingy Thai bar than a main member of a terrorist group. I'm half Thai so I can say whatever I want. Other than that though, she's the most relatable villain out of the three we've already mentioned. Whereas one just disappears and another has a hard-on for explosive suicide, Scarlett I feel has the best motivation for actually becoming a member of the ILF. Her family once owned a farm that was their pride and joy, however this treasure would later be forcefully repossessed by Osborne, who was looking to expand the railway networks across western Erebonia. The compensation in Mira, though sizable, wasn't enough to stave the sadness, and with no more meaning in his life, Scarlett's father succumbed to alcohol and eventually died in an accident, resulting in the rest of the family splitting apart. It's fair to say that up to this point, Scarlett's life was perfect, she had everything, and in one fell swoop it was taken away. That is a good reason to seek revenge, and though her actions are definitely not as church-like as her background might suggest, I do feel bad for her situation. In Cold Steel 1, she's a bit of a bitch, so it's nice to see the true Scarlett coming out in the second half. It's good to see that as a result of her moments in Cold Steel 2, she scores highly on character development, which is where I feel she's strongest in. I just wish she had a bit more screen time. He's only going to rate low on this for me because he didn't do a whole lot or have any enormous significance, unlike Claire and Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. If it were the series or the tetralogy overall, that would be a different story. Yeah, Lecter doesn't get much in Cold Steel 1 and 2 because he's pruning azure lumber in some other land. So the fact that he makes it to number 28 is strange, and I think the bias surrounding his character came into play here because there is no way he has more story significance than Gaius or Elliot in the first two games. I guess he managed to stop the war with Calvin in Cold Steel 1, that's cool, and we see him making banter with his Iron Blood powers every now and then, but yeah, that's about it for Lecter. A fan favourite and thus definitely must be mentioned in the list, but he's a bit too high on the rankings for me. He had a weak first impression, but he got better over time, and he has an interesting backstory that synergizes with the themes of commoners versus nobles. I have to agree with this statement. Marcius has a good reason to dislike nobles, that can't be questioned. He feels it's because of them that he was robbed of his cousin, and that anger is still a part of him come his enrollment at Thors. Of course, that also works to his detriment as he lashes out at other nobles within Class 7 just because of their title. Heck, he even lets it cloud his judgment when he finds out Reen is a minor noble himself, despite getting along with him when he was unaware of the fact. So it's fair to say he doesn't have the best first impression, but Marcius is an important character in my mind as he is one half of a duo that demonstrates the divide between commoner and noble, a divide that Class 7 is meant to overcome. And there's no doubt that as Class 7 grows, the attitude of Marcius also changes. He may still be a bit of a sourpuss at times and very competitive, but it's clear to everyone that he develops very well over the course of Cold Steel 1 and 2, and all round is a down-to-earth bloke like his father. McBurn is such a hilariously stupid over-the-top elementary schoolers deviant OC character both conceptually and in execution that you just can't help but revel in it. Had to slap a 10 for his design simply because I'm bewildered that he's actually a real character they thought of and put in the games. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at this one. But this quote demonstrates the divide among the fandom on McBurn. I know for a fact there are people that love this over-the-top character and there are others that just cannot take him seriously. I'd say I'm somewhere in the middle. I actually kind of like his design, it's something that I'm sure 16-year-old phase kid TKN would be all over. But on the other side, I'm not a big fan of the personality. I've said it many times before that I cannot stand the characters that live to fight, and McBurn has two settings. Either so bored that he can't be bothered or vying for a beatdown. That's it. It helps that he's easily the strongest character in Cold Steel 2, and also I love the chemistry he has with his Ouroboros partner, it works really well. But alone, he just doesn't do it for me. God, how I wish it was the Cold Steel 3-4 ranking right now. Tsundere Cats. Yep, this is where we're at. Jokes aside, Celine is fine, I guess. I mean, at least she's not taking a dump on your lawn. That already makes her better than your average cat. There's no doubt as well that she's important to the plot of Cold Steel 2, I'd even say she takes the spotlight off her master in the first two games. And I appreciate that at times she can't help but give in to her animal nature. It's a nice touch. My issue is more that she seems to take pleasure in hiding secrets from Class 7, the spirit shrines come into mind immediately. I understand she and her clan have secrets that they need to keep under wraps, but you're meant to be guiding them, you scatty mare. How about a few hints every now and then? Now here's a guy who gets good development. At number 24, it's Patrick Higharms. Patrick is an interesting character. He goes from hated to liked during the course of both games. So he had major development. As a result, Patrick went from my least favourite to one of my favourites. Bang on. Patrick was easily one of the most hated characters for the majority of Cold Steel 1 and 2, a guy who believed his rank automatically made him superior. And again, I feel that a character like Patrick was needed. He is probably the most clear representation of the divide between noble and commoner that we see in game, at least at Thors. Of course, he gets his primmed arse handed to him on a few occasions, which acts as a key factor to his eventual change of attitude, but there's definitely hints as to Patrick's real character even when he's still in that stuck-up mode. The hidden quest where he shows concern for Celestine being a good example. Yes, he's a brat for the majority of the first half, but I feel that deep down he's just proud of his heritage, he just flaunts it in the wrong way. So his eventual shift in personality is welcome to see. Also, keep trucking my man. Reen will give in eventually. Maybe. Number 23 goes to Commander of the 4th Armoured Division Olaf Craig. Now first, let's appreciate that Olaf is a Chad. He stands on top of a tank on the front lines and he doesn't even hold on to anything. I'm telling you, I've tried to stand up in one of those trams without grasping the handles, and I'm certain that people in the vicinity felt that Bambi had come to town. In equal measure, I have to give props to the guy for being a massive dork. Now don't get me wrong, showing love to your child is nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, I find it endearing. It's great to see a father who shows affection to their hard-earned offspring. But I feel that characteristic also works very well in Olaf's favour. We see in Cold Steel 2 he is willing to launch a counterattack against the Noble Alliance despite knowing that Fiona has been taken hostage. Now there's no doubt he fears for Fiona's safety, but he also shows respect to his daughter, stating that taking her as a prisoner of war will not break her. And with that knowledge, he's willing to fight for the safety of Erebonia. It shows that deep understanding that can only come about because of how close the Craigs are, and I feel Olaf's attitude is a big reason why that intimacy came about in the first place. A great father figure overall, and a top-notch general. I like him. Never trust the ones with glasses, especially ones who have hypnosis swirls for lenses. His chats with Nightheart and Sarah are just delightful. A very fun, likeable character, and a badass too. What? Thomas is a badass? Well, we'll get to that. Initially, we see Instructor Thomas as the slightly off his rocker and cheerful teacher of history at Thors Military Academy. We see him around the campus every now and then, and he even takes the initiative in attempting to bond with his peers. Give him a chance, guys. But it doesn't take long for us to surmise that Thomas is a bit more than meets the eye. There are several hints purported by Makarov in particular suggesting that Thomas is hiding something, and by the time he assists us in Cold Steel 2, we've got an idea that there is some big reveal on its way. And there would be, if you played Cold Steel 2 twice. Yeah. In a big brain moment which I still can't understand, Falcom decided to hide Thomas's big reveal as a Groll's Ritter Dominion behind a New Game Plus wall. Why, Kondo? You pretty much knocked like 5 points off his character development right there. Oh well, he's still a great character even before that reveal, and I think this spot just outside the top 20 is right for him. This is the guy that your girlfriend says not to worry about. I jest. Viktor would never let that happen. He's too honourable. Really like this guy. His thematic role as one of Erebonia's strongest and thus a measuring stick for Reen is fun. He is also a reminder that status doesn't dictate personality. Couldn't agree more. Viktor was definitely one of the coolest characters to appear in the first half of Cold Steel, and you can see where his daughter gets her personality from. He is a representation of what a noble should be. Diligent, brave, humble, and someone who cares for their people and country. In turn, it's clear that the people around him respect his judgment and authority. This guy has it all. Not to mention, he is not afraid to lay down the gauntlet when he wants. His presence alone is enough to scare the sepith out of someone if he wants to get serious. But my favourite moment for Viktor will always be his fight against Meme Lord McBurn. Class 7 are literally on the verge of giving my local Chinese crispy duck a run for its money before Big Sword Energy takes the stage. And he fights this demon alone. He don't need no help. Absolute beast. And if this was my personal ranking, he would be much higher on the list. And there it is guys, part 2 is complete. I'll see if I can get part 3 out by next weekend. Again, it depends on how busy I am. Take it easy, peace.